Oh, wow. Started recording. So, hi there. I'm Clarence with Compass. Jim and I and Sonia, who is not able to make it tonight because she has a lovely vacation that we're kind of jealous about. Um,
Very jealous.
so, so we do this every single month to be able to, we from conversations we have with our clients and people we talk with on a regular basis. We get these questions that, in terms of investing, real estate, and more, and the mortgage process that we know somebody will ask. And because we get this so frequently, we feel like we should put this into a little quick session, webinar. So the folks who are on the live stream, this will be saved on my Facebook page, and this will have a copy of this on my YouTube page. So anyway, Jim, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, my name's Jim, financial advisor with Edward Jones, coming at you from beautiful downtown Redwood City, California.
So as mentioned, I'm Clarence. I'm a real estate agent with Compass, and we're the number one real estate company in Silicon Valley. So
I love it. I love it. Clarence, I've got a question for you. And a
mhm.
lot of my clients are potential home buyers or home sellers, and they're kind of wondering um, about the average time that properties are staying on the market right now. They've heard stories that properties sit on the market for a long time. Is that the case? Is that still the case? Is it changing? What's going on there?
So it's definitely, it depends. But then right now, if you look at what's happening in the last month or so, the average days in the market is around 8 days, medium days in the market. So if 100 homes, the one in the middle is it's eight. So right now it's relatively fast. I mean, it's less than a little over a week, a little over 2 weekends on for most less than most homes are selling, within 8 days. Now
I
that's
love
eight
it.
days again, the contract. Of course, there's some homes are staying on the market longer, and some are going a lot faster. Actually, I just got a property into contract as a coming soon. So even there, buyers are going into the market, and aggressive agents like myself are looking at all inventory at possibilities. Folks are about to hit the market. Properties that are coming on the market, and trying to get our clients access to those properties because of the high demand we're seeing for the limited amount of inventory.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking about you know, uncertainty in terms of the market, I'm getting talks with my clients about what do you need to do to prepare for any possible potential economic uncertainties. I know we're beginning of the year, a lot can happen in the next 11 months. What should they be considering as they try to develop their investment strategy for the rest of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, especially because I'm getting questions about how is what's happening in China going to impact the rest of the world? What is about the possibility of a shallow recession later in the year that some analysts are calling for? Um, I say this to my clients. It's a Charlie Munger quote. And if you know Charlie Munger, he was Warren Buffett's partner, recently passed away. And he has a quote that goes, avoiding stupidity is easier than seeking brilliance. And so I love that. My the way I interpret it is what you want to do is you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. That's seeking brilliance, right? You don't want to assume you know what's going on. As an example of this, in 2022, at the end of 2022, 85% of analysts predicted that 2023 would have a recession. 2023, the S&P 500 returned 26%. That is the opposite of a recession. So we never know what's going to happen. And so the best thing we can do is avoid stupidity. My mentor likes to say balance over brilliance. And so the best thing people can do is make sure that you're properly diversified, properly allocated in your portfolios. If you don't know what that means, I do. I'll help you out. So just let me know. Good question. Um, the Speaking of the economic climate, so that's how it could potentially affect my clients. But how is it affecting yours? What's happening with the economic climate? How's it affected real estate in this region, Clarence?
Well, I mean, one thing about our region is it's pretty durable. There, folks are coming. there are a lot of high-paying jobs in this area. I always give the example, a coming out of San Jose State with an engineering degree, for a large part of it, again, to one of these major companies are earning six figures as entry-level position. So we got a lot of folks that are in that category who are in the area. So they're able to, financial, get through any uncertainty right now. And I think the biggest uncertainty we have here that are talking with my clients is, a lot of tech companies are laying off workers, and knowing that what they so some but some of them are a lot of them have built up savings and they are able to buy right now. What the biggest fact, what the thing that we see the most in terms of what's really affecting home values, the speed of bought transactions, is the lack of inventory. Inventory since 2019 is down by at least a third,
Hmm.
and that was pre-COVID. Um, so there's a lot of inventory that's missing for the buyer demand we see right now, and especially how demographics are changing, is that the folks who are aging into the home buying age are, they're seeing less inventory compared to a generation ago. So because of that, we're seeing home values increasing pretty drastically over the last year. And last year, the end of 2022 was the lowest. We had a dip, and that was probably the lowest we've seen in home values. And home
Wow.
values went back up to for that beginning of the decline. And that's about a 25% increase in value in Santa Clara County for single family homes.
Hmm.
So we're probably going to see further increases going for this year. We're anticipating a conservative estimate in terms of around maybe 5 or 6% increase in value year over year. So we'll see how it goes. Especially and you compound it with people talking about, interest rates are going to be lower this year, and there'll be more and more buyers who are coming into the market because the rates are lower. They think they can afford more, and not forgetting that you also have to figure out what our home value is and what your monthly payments will be factored in terms of your mortgage and what the value of the property you're buying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Makes me wish Sonia was here to talk about that.
I know.
Oh, well, next time.
Everybody loves to talk about rates with Sonia. So uh, anyway, um, you know, kids is probably a big factor for a lot of people. College. So what strategies should someone consider for saving money for the kids' education in the current economic climate we're facing right now?
That's, I think, a great question. It's a super great question because it seems like there's a lot of babies being born recently. Have you felt that way? It seems like I know about a half a dozen people, um, like close friends of mine who are having kids soon. And so saving for college is one of those big things because the cost of college keeps going up. It doesn't seem to be coming down ever. It just keeps going up. And so planning for that is going to be a major thing. The first thing I'd say is do it in a tax advantaged way. Pay as little taxes as you can. So there is a tax advantaged account called a 529 account. And what it allows you to do is put money in. It's going to grow and grow and grow without paying taxes on it. And then as long as you take it out to pay for college expenses, which can include room and board, it can include books and computers and supplies. It can include tuition and fees. So it includes a lot of stuff. As long as you use it for one of those qualified expenses, then you're not going to have to pay any taxes on the growth. Now, because of that, what I recommend is for people who have the means to front load a 529, put a bunch of money in first, like right when they're born. Let it grow, let it grow, let it grow. And we can strategize for exactly how much that's something I do with my clients all the time. But let it grow, grow, grow. And your little bit can turn into a lot down the road. And then you have a lot of free money to use for college. And that's the most efficient way to do it. A lot of people can't do that. And so we strategize for how to do it over time. But utilizing that is probably the best opportunity that you have to kind of keep the cost of college at bay, keep it a little bit tamed by using a tax advantaged account for it. So perfect. I know I have somebody, Clarence, who is thinking about putting their house on the market. The biggest question they have is how can they prepare their home for sale?
Okay.
What do you say to that?
Well, it comes down to two things. One, how soon you're planning to put the house in the market. If you're plan if it's within more than 2 or 3 months before going on the market, there's just certain things I would suggest. It's one, get the house clean. That's probably the biggest thing. And you'll be moving out anyway. Might as well start preparing for it and make it and also consider, if you're planning to live there, like you're planning to move out in the 3 or 4 years, then the improvements you're probably thinking about, maybe consider, could be a little bit more high cost improvements. So we're talking about maybe remodel kitchens,
Mm.
bathrooms, or new flooring. I mean, those are probably the biggest high-end expenses you could possibly consider, and still live in the property and enjoy it. No, as an agent with Compass, and there's some other firms out there that have programs or access to programs that maybe they could be able to front the cost for getting the house ready for the market. And this can range for a variety of different programs. We called it our product Compass Concierge,
Mm.
and we could be able to front the cost up to a certain dollar amount based upon the home's equity left in the property and your price point. And what you could do with it is we can, do some minor flooring improvements. We can do some minor kitchen improvements. We can, pay for maybe one, maybe two bathrooms, depending what the contractor says. Get power wash, do some landscaping. There's a number of small things we can be able to do with that program, but also it really depends. The first stuff, and I think most important, is is declutter the home first. I mean, I have met with a potential seller recently, and it was hard for me to figure out what the house needs. But the first thing I could definitely say, he needs to clean the house, and that was so I could have a better assessment in terms of what else we need to do. And
Right.
that's because once we take that first layer off, then we could probably say, okay, based upon our timeline, what's important and what's not, what can we triage and still get top dollar in today's market. And usually it comes down to is paint, power washing, landscaping. So, and those are very low cost improvements we can do in order to get the house in the market. The more high cost improvements like new kitchens, new bathrooms, um, those I would have to be kind of careful because based upon time and overall cost, would that get you the top dollar? And sometimes it will, sometimes it won't.
Interesting. I like it. That sounds great.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Is there any other questions? Oh, let me see here. I just thought of one. Talking, seeing that, with a new year, we just
Mhm.
been 1 year, the 1 month into 2024, what impact in recent legislations would be affecting people's financial situation or upcoming changes in the year because of new legislation?
That's a very cogent question. The thing that I point out to people is actually not necessarily recent legislation, but it's how relatively recent legislation will impact people relatively soon. And that's the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017. So you might remember the one of the things that it did is it shifted the tax brackets down a little bit. So for some people, you ended up paying less in taxes because they shifted a little bit, or it shifted them up a little bit. Now that shift is going to sunset at the end of 25. So it's going to come back down. So how does this impact most people? Number one, most people are going to pay more taxes unless you're ultra wealthy. Most middle class Americans are going to end up paying more in taxes. The other way it impacts things is that on the marginal side of things, so for every dollar you make above and beyond your income, we call those kind of marginal dollars. Those you're going to pay more taxes on those. So that's kind of a big thing. Strategizing for that, making sure that you're not estimating what your taxes are going to be, but also for things like if people want to convert something like a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, it's going to be a really good idea to get that done before the end of 25. We don't want to be paying a lot more income tax on something like that if we can avoid it by doing it now. So that's probably the biggest thing that a lot of people don't realize is coming down the pipe. And it's one of the things that I'm strategizing most with my clients is how do we take advantage of this low income tax time in order to, put off what's about to happen in the next, 2 years. So good question.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
I'm looking at questions, looking in the chat. I don't see any questions.
No, I don't see anything in the chat.
Okay.
No, I think we're done. So, but anyway, so both Jim and I and Sonia, we love answering your questions. And if you have any questions that you have, either directly for for Jim or myself, feel free to reach out. If it's a good question, we'll ask that question, at the next Just Ask an Agent. Anyway,
and
Jim,
if it's a bad question, we'll just answer it just for you. But the good questions we answer for everybody.
Absolutely. Hey, Jim, so what's the best way to get a hold of
you? Give me a call, 650-481-6042. Just know when you call that, you're either going to get me or my assistant. You never get some random person in the call center somewhere else. So that's a direct line right to my office.
And the best way to get a hold of me is 408-390-5819. That's my direct line. That's my cell phone. So feel free to reach out. I'd love to talk. And we'll hopefully see you next month.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.